Welcome back to the TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Great weekend on the diamond, obviously A&M baseball in Mississippi State, and also the softball regional. A&M, UConn, McNeese, Arizona State, a lot of great teams coming here. And right now we're going to talk to James Landreneau, who is the head coach at McNeese for their softball team. He's on the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Coach, how are you, sir?
Man, I'm doing well. And yourself?
Wonderful. Thanks
Appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. So just your first thoughts on coming to College Station for the regional with some really big programs.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a great regional, right? When you're talking about quality of softball. I mean, look what Arizona State has done this year. Obviously, Texas A&M's record speaks for itself. We were down here early in the year, and it's a rough go for us. And then UConn coming off a big win, winning record, over 30-something wins. So good softball all the way around. Should be good for the fan base all weekend.
James, let's go back to the genesis of how this started for you, because when I met you in Lake Charles, I think you were a travel baseball coach and kind of, I don't know if you had any roots in the softball game at that time. So how did you get here now running one of the most successful mid-major programs in the country? From being a baseball guy to, this has got to been quite the journey for you, huh?
It is and it isn't, right? It was simple as Mike Smith was a coach at McNeese, and he was in from California, and we were chopping shop one day about baseball. And in that process, at the end of the season, he said, at the end of his season, he came talk to him. He said, "Hey, would you come help me with softball? I need some help." I said, "Man, I don't know anything about softball, And so he kind of challenged me a little bit. And if I turned him down a couple of times, then he kind of challenged me about the college level, and accepted it. And 4 years later, I'm a head coach. It was kind of a fast. Once I got involved, I was very fortunate to have a fast track and to stay living in Lake Charles, where I raised my family, and it's been home to me for many years.
And then you have made some significant strides in obviously elevating the program there in Lake Charles, but also elevating the facilities. What were some of the hurdles being a mid-major school, kind of paying for some brick and mortar and raising those funds? Did it come after the wins, or were you selling this as the vision of the program before the wins?
Yeah, it was weird. I started selling it right away. Hey, this is what I feel would be the best thing to get fan attendance up, to make sure that we could accommodate our players when they come in, to show them that the area is serious about softball. And every time we'd start to make a little bit of improvement, attendance would go up. And it's kind of a trend. And I was very fortunate to have the community's been great. Anytime you put something on paper and show them what the vision looks like and the benefit of having these things, they always stepped up and got it done for us. So without the community stepping up for us, and the university, McNeese has allowed us to do these things. They could have tied our hands, and they didn't. So kind of credit to university, but more importantly, our community's been excellent to us.
Coach, let's talk about the turning point this season. In the middle of the year, you guys went through a rough stretch. I think 5 straight losses. After the A&M game, though, you went 12-2, really got hot. What changed? What clicked?
Man, that's the number one question we're getting from everybody, right? You started off on a pretty good pace, beating some pretty good teams early in the season. And then a little bit of distraction maybe got in. I think when sometimes when you get distracted, all of a sudden you get hit in the face. And being able to handle that adversity was kind of challenging for us. We start to lose a little bit of confidence, and really it was just a lot of sitting in. I think the low-hanging fruit is we want to say that, we did something different in practice and it changed everything. But be honest with you guys, it was a lot of sitting in a room, finding out what's going on between the ears, because it's like, hey, the talent that we had at the beginning of the year didn't just go away, right? Like we proved it would have been different if we'd have started off bad and really had it, but we had success early. And so it's just being in that conversation and realizing the pressure. I think some people were putting a little bit too much pressure. I think me as a coach was maybe putting a little too much pressure in how we were wording things, and kind of got away from us a little bit. And through some conversation, we were able to get things back to what, kind of one thing the team kind of locked onto, what's important now. Everybody talks about win, but it's like, hey, it doesn't matter what's happened. Hey, what do I need to do at this moment? And kind of just relieved everybody, and our kids started having fun again and enjoying themselves playing the game.
James, in your tenure at McNeese, you have recruited some of the all-time greatest players that come, whether they be from locally out of Southwest Louisiana, or also you branched out into California. I'm curious to understand how your recruiting, not pitch, but your recruiting methods have evolved in understanding the kind of players that fit well with what you do. Because everybody wants to go out, and when you go out and you recruit at a softball event or a softball tournament, you're not recruiting the same players that Trisha Ford is, but you have a certain style of player that you're looking for. How has that evolved as you've gotten older as a coach?
Yeah, I think you start to realize what players are going to be successful. There's so many good players, like there's so many good schools. What players perform best in your program, in your culture? And that's what we really start to evaluate: the toughness, the gritty kids, the kids that have a good skill set and also have a tremendous upside to them. And that's what, we really go after. For us, it's, hey, we want players that want to play on nationally challenging. They want to play a nationally challenging schedule, but maybe they're looking for something a little different, a smaller, more intimate relationship with the fan base, with a community. And so just finding the right kids that want the small classroom size, that want the fans to actually know them by name, and they know the fans by name. And you have to do a lot more. I think what I've really tried to dive into is just really knowing who they are and what's their real goals, not what someone else is telling us through conversation.
Yeah, I would imagine that if you guys are going to make some noise here in this regional, your best players are going to have to play well. Yeah, that's just, to me, that's the mid-major formula and recipe for upsetting and making a run through these regionals. So just kind of take us through these girls: Cassidy Chance, Jada Munoz, Riley Cloud. All of those have been enormous for you. What has, kind of go through them quickly individually. What can we expect to see from them this weekend?
Yeah, Cassie Chance is going to be in the leadoff spot. She's been tremendous for us as of late. She started off with a little rough patch last year. She was freshman of the year at the conference, moved over to shortstop this year. Tremendous talent at the beginning. She kind of sets the tone for us. And I think at one point in this last run, she was on base. I want to say it's like 12 out of 14 times she went through a spell. So tremendous talent, shortstop. Great player. Jada Munoz will be playing third base for us. Jada's a great story. Came in her first 2 years, didn't get to see much action. Last year was a breakout year with 15 home runs. What I always like to say about Jada is she's a classic example of working while you wait. Right, 2 years, she could have easily transferred out in today's day and age, and she didn't. She stuck it out for us. And look, man, she's been rock solid, especially in the conference tournament. I think the last series she had 9 RBIs, and she was on fire for us. Riley Cloud's a transfer from Arkansas. Come in, didn't play very much there, got an opportunity here, and is definitely making the most of it. Unselfish player. She's played shortstop, she's played second, she's played right field, and she's played first base for us. So she's a true utility player when you talk about it. Corinne Pancho will hit probably a 3-hole. I think Corinne has 8 or 9 home runs right now for us, and kind of got on fire as of late as we moved her up in the lineup. So she's been playing well. She had a great sophomore campaign with 15 home runs, and so there's some power there. But the key for us is we've been playing better defensively, not making mistakes.
You're filling 993. Don't say you're playing better. You're playing awesome defense, dude.
At the beginning of the year, during that rough spell, it was rough, man. Defense wasn't what it is right now, and Cassie Chance and Jada have been really solid on that side of the field for us. And, Weeks has kind of really turned it on. She's a transfer from Southern Miss, and she's turned it on as of late for us and be able to turn a double play over really well. So it's been really nice to have those players start to step up. But I think you hit the nail on the head. Your producers have to play well. Maddie Taylor's a kid with 9 home runs. She'll probably hit 5 or 6 hole for us. She's a two-way player. She's going to be the one that's going to start, in the circle. Traditionally, she's been one of our number 1 or number 2. So she's contributed on both sides of the ball with driving in runs as well.
That is James Landreneau. Coach, we appreciate your time. We'll see you here at the regional. Good luck, sir.
Good luck, dude. Appreciate you coming in, James. Yeah.
Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you very much. Good stuff there. I appreciate that. And I was looking through a little historical context. They played Arizona State in 2016 in a regional, beat them the first time. And I think Arizona State was in the top 5 when this happened. And then they ended up losing the second time they played against
them. Yeah, man, he's built a real program there.
Yeah.
And I think this is his 5th Southland Conference championship, so we appreciate him taking the time out of his morning.
Yep. All right, we'll hit a break. You're going to take over. We've got Stephen McGee coming in. And,
Yuck.
It's going to be good. I might be able to stay for 2 or 3 minutes. I should probably get going. All right, moment for Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com. If you're in the market for a new vehicle, check out the good people there at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. They got great deals, they got great people, they got great service. You put those 3 things together, I think you're going to come away very happy with your purchase at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. They're locally owned. They got an Aggie alumni team that knows how to take care of their customers, and that's why every vehicle that you buy from Caldwell Country Chevrolet comes with that free oil change for life as long as you own that vehicle from Caldwell Country Chevrolet. It's about a 15-minute drive, the edge of Bryan, to the beginnings of Caldwell. A short conversation away, but you'll see the difference when you step on the lot and do business with the good people at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, caldwellcountrychevrolet.com.
Welcome back to TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers inside the Rollo Insurance Studios. Ryan Brauninger, as you know, this is kind of what I do. I'm the backup. This is why we have the B team with our A team quarterback who's sipping out of his Yeti like he is a 21-year-old fitness model.
My frame mogging you?
Yes, you are.
Your looks maxing me.
Stephen McGee in here for a couple of segments to end the 8 o'clock hour. Reese, when I host the show, I don't have my ears in. So if you have anything that you think is so worthy for me to hear, just yell at me and I'll put my ears in. McGee.
Where's Olin, by the way?
His son is graduating from LSU. So he's down there in Baton Rouge to watch Quinn walk.
What do you think they do after?
I got a good idea what Quinn does after. I would imagine, and if we get video of Olin with his legs in the air on a keg stand.
Frank the Tank?
Yes. You think he's out there? He has endeared himself. You know, you listen to Olin talk. Olin stories are not typically. Olin stories definitely have more truth to them than Billy's. But it's
Gosh, it's aggressive.
Have you not heard a Luch story? The whole thing's embellished. You unaware that he does this? He starts on the smallest fact, and the story grows away from that with every sentence.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of his brain taking the story wherever it wants to go. That's any story Billy's ever told. You have to know this. You're scared to say it.
No,
Are you scared of Billy?
No, I think it's an interesting take, and I can't substantiate it to the level you are, and I know that there's a history between y'all two, and I'm sure that you will get an incoming text
for sure. He ain't listening.
Yeah,
but we've gotten further away from we've gotten away from the point here, which is that Olin tells stories that
we've drifted.
Olin tells stories about like kind of his popularity amongst Quinn and Quinn's friends because of his actions. Now, Olin does seem like, you know, as if you're a college kid and Olin's your dad, like. That's a great pull for your buddies. Like, yeah, let's call my dad and jack with him, and you know you can get him all riled up. But he wrote a piece on TexAgs. You should check out it's a reflective piece on Quinn's upbringing and how he ended up at LSU and how proud of a dad that he was. He said he's only going to wear purple and gold one time in his life, and it was to watch Quinn graduate.
That's awesome.
They're pretty cool.
Well, enjoy OB.
Speaking of graduation, this is an interesting time in the calendar for football players, and I wanted to pick your brain about. You have this time off. You went through spring ball. You finish up the semester academically. Right now, everybody is away from campus. Coaches are away. They're about to start having official visits, so they'll come back. The players are away. How important is the end of May, start of June for a football season?
Well, I think it's all the work you put in. I mean, you win and lose football games at this time of year, and really it begins, February 1 or whatever that date is, whenever the program starts back up. But the dead time, I think, is a place where teams can lose ground quickly. But especially for a quarterback, I think it's a great time for them to, some of these guys have quarterback coaches now that they work with on the fundamentals of the game. And I think is a great time for them to plug in and dive into the footwork mechanics and different throwing mechanics that they work on. And I know Marcel's been plugged in with a great one. And so hopefully this is a time that you can refine your game and work on those fundamentals. And then obviously it's going to take guys that are disciplined in their approach, right? If you're away from the program, you're back home, are you going to apply that same workout mentality so when you come here, you're ready to go, fire up the engines? And so, obviously you got to be able to get away and enjoy some time and slow down, but winners keep marching on. And so, I agree. I think it's a extremely valuable time.
Do quarterbacks need time off? Do they need rest?
Yeah, I think there's all different types of rest, right? There's mental rest after the season. I think it's a important part, and I think just your arm, like it's important for you to not be throwing 200 throws a day for the duration of the year. Like I think that there's a time to ease back in, and I think that right now is probably not that time. I think that there's this dead time after the season's done as a thrower, and then you ramp back up slowly, progressing into spring football, and then you do the same thing, right, with a little bit of a break before fall camp. So to me, I think that most of the guys have a regimen that is well thought out as far as how many reps and times they want to get the ball up in the air, and they progress to build on, not be like, hey, I'm behind the game going into fall camp, like the Shane Leckler mentality, if you will. Like he was a legend, man, because he would show up in camp. He'd take off for the 6 weeks prior to training camp. He's done his OTAs. They'd bring in a rookie punter, undrafted. And Leckler's like for the first 3 weeks of training camp, he's just shanking them. He's not in shape. He's like, dude, it'd take me time to get my leg back in shape. And this rookie kid inevitably thought, man, I have a chance. Like, I'm going to make this team.
Yeah, no, you didn't.
Had no shot.
No shot.
By week 3, that ball's hanging in the air for whatever, like 5.5 seconds. He's kicking 60-yard bangers.
He's watching
gets cut.
Yeah, just watching him hit one, and the kid just hands his helmet to the coach, and I'll try another organization. But I think there's, this time is obviously important too, especially when everybody comes back for timing, right? With Marcel, and there's a lot of familiarity with the pass catching targets. With you think Craver, Bussey, Bethel, Roman. A lot of those returners from last year, but you got a new one in Isaiah Horton and some new tight ends. How much can you really replicate timing against air and no pads on? Like, it's better than nothing.
I think the main difference in the throw game is that you can't replicate the pass rush.
Okay.
And having to move in the pocket and stay on time. That is such an important element of quarterback play. It's these subtle little movements in the pocket. And yet you've got to stay in rhythm and on time to connect with these routes. Now, at this time of year, it's so important to work on things like anticipation, right? When you want to throw the ball as a quarterback before they're coming out of a break, you want to be uncomfortable as a thrower, meaning that this wide receiver has not yet slowed down to take a right turn on a dig route, right? In simple terms for people listening on radio. And yet I'm already throwing this ball 17 yards, 4 yards inside the numbers to hit this guy on a dig route. It's uncomfortable because you can't see him open. And that's where you practice these things. This is the time to make those uncomfortable throws so that when you get into fall camp and the bullets start flying and that pass rush, you've already made that throw a million times. Now that linebacker's there. And so it starts with routes on air. Then it progresses to 7-on-7. Now you see the linebackers dropping into the windows and the windows in which you've got to connect on these different routes.
And the corners can reroute receivers to throw timing off in that scenario.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you're learning to adjust your rhythm as a quarterback. Like, hey, it's press man, and I'm trying to throw a bang 8. I know I want to hit back foot hits, 5-step drop. I want the ball out. But you may have to sit just for a half second because that receiver had a hard time getting off press man. So, yes, I mean, this is that important time of year. Brauny I almost called you Ronnie.
Ooh.
Ooh.
I didn't like that.
You didn't like it?
Oh.
This is a invaluable time for Marcel and crew to work on that timing, work on anticipation. And I think it's a big step for his development as a quarterback is obviously the development as a passer.
All right, when we come back, we got a little game we're going to play that David left us, so I don't know how cool this is going to be knowing David. Probably not as cool as he thought, but we'll play that. We'll close the Go Hour here with Stephen McGee. On the other side of the 9 o'clock hour, we'll have Coach Mike Earley here to preview Texas A&M and Mississippi State. All that when we come back on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. As usual, during the commercial break, Stephen McGee has gotten us far afield from our topic. Just quickly, can we cut to Carson in the Angry Elephant
Yes, please.
Social Center? And I need you, can you just repeat the line, there's women and children in here, man?
There's women and children in here, man.
Who does that sound like? That looks like David Koresh. Please,
I don't think so.
to our 3 listeners out there, please vote. And if you get 2 votes, then that's the majority.
He's from Riesel, so it does kind of.
You could be.
Oh, don't. No.
Honestly,
we're not doing that.
In that tribe, he could be grandson. He could be a grandson of David
I don't
Koresh.
think I am, but okay.
Yeah, he could. The math adds up. What year were you born?
2002.
We're not going to link this together. We're not going to do this. I'm the substitute
Dude,
teacher.
that's way too late.
I'll never get another job if we go down this rabbit hole. I'm trying to wheel in the TV so we watch some Animal Planet and y'all, the bell rings and you get out of here.
No.
That's what I'm trying to do here.
I find it uncanny, okay, that he is from Riesel, Texas, and that the first thing I said last week when I'm walking out here, I was like, man, you look like David Koresh.
He does not look like David
Yes,
Koresh.
He does.
If he took his glasses off, I think it's the frames of the glasses.
Let the people speak.
Okay. We'll check the YouTube comments here at the break. Well, we have something that your company, Paragon Financial, sponsors with Stephen McGee in the studio. Buy, sell, hold, brought to you by the aforementioned Aggie-owned Paragon Financial Advisors. If you want financial guidance and you want to drink out of your Yeti, just like Stephen McGee's drinking out of his right now, they truly put you first. Visit paragon-adv.com.
That was a Buns read, dude. That was Buns.
It was, which is a step worse than Cheeks. This is what David has left us to buy, sell, or hold. The most vilified coaches by their former teams.
Mm-hmm.
I'll let you finish. Go ahead.
I was getting text about you. Are you referred to as Bluto?
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 Like from Popeye?
Is that what that is?
Most people, Billy has called me Bull Hurley from Over the Top.
Okay.
Arm wrestling movie with Sylvester Stallone.
I've never heard of it.
Really?
Yeah.
It's 80. I mean,
I guarantee Carson has.
most 80s movies
David.
stink. Most things in the 80s stink. I was born in the 80s. You were born in the 80s.
Yeah.
I don't like the 80s. Probably my least favorite decade.
We're done with the 80s.
80s has some, music-wise, pretty solid content.
Ooh, I think it's the worst decade for music. I can't stand it. But you do love Michael Jackson, and that's kind of when he got started. I remember you telling me you had the posters. Like, as he got older and as he kind of his look changed, you remember you telling me in your dorm room at A&M, you had like a progression of Michael Jackson over your bed. It's kind of weird, but
Yeah.
dude,
big fan.
I thought, you kept, you run that short side option so many times. I thought you got your head hit, so I let you keep talking.
Yeah, but look, dude, people can toss a little shade at my like, but for me, it was always the guy that had the Britney Spears thing going in the dorm room,
like
you
Nick
did.
Savage.
Because didn't you go to McNeese?
Yeah, I did, but my posters were like of Wayne Toops and like the Cajun,
The big like Britney Spears concert.
No.
Yeah,
You're confusing me. Nick, whenever he was working at Orange Theory,
I mean,
used to have. He told me, we were talking about it before the show. Reese, remember we were talking about Nick's Orange Theory playlist, and one of them was like Britney Spears. He had some Lil Nas X on there, so like I think you're probably talking about
Nick Savage
That's
was
a
a
Buns
big
comment,
Lil
dude.
Nas
But
X fan.
let's get back on track here. Yes, I know you're a big Britney guy. What was your day?
David left us buy, sell, hold. Most vilified coaches by their former team. Lane Kiffin.
100%.
Well, you haven't heard the other two. Yeah, all these are vilified.
Well,
Lane Kiffin, the former baseball coach here, and then Lincoln Riley.
in the Aggie world, Schloss is going to take the cake on that one. Who's the last one? Lincoln Riley?
Lincoln Riley.
No.
OU fans do not like him. And it was really shady how he left. Like,
For sure. Lane Kiffin, I think, just from the personality,
bad guy.
more on a national level. Yeah.
The stuff he pulled,
I've
the
never
stuff,
met him. I
the
don't know.
stuff you just hear some people that do know him talk about behind the scenes stuff, but the stuff he pulled this week with the comments about Ole Miss that was outrageous.
Didn't even hear about it.
Oh, really? He kind of rage baited and gaslit the entire Ole Miss fan base.
Rage baited, gaslit. Look at you go, dude. That's a little flex.
He basically said,
Are you convo maxing us right now?
I'm trying to vocab max.
God, we're such losers, man.
Anyway, you didn't see what Lane Kiffin said?
No.
He basically called the entire state of Mississippi racist, and that's why it's a lot easier to recruit in Baton Rouge because of whenever he's in Oxford, he had real problems recruiting black athletes because of Oxford's past. Now, he has sort of walked it back, but I can't believe you missed this. It was a huge talking point. It went viral. Started a lot of discussions.
Yeah, it's a bizarre comment.
It's really bizarre. Especially you start digging into everybody's past in that part of the world. Like, yeah, it's the greatest stain in American history. Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
But we've moved so far past it now. It's crazy. All right. Thanks for coming in. That was a really poorly played game. That game was buns.
Welcome back to TexAgs, man. It's been about a year, huh? You had about a year off?
Okay, what's the joke here? Hit it.
I haven't seen you.
Oh, well, I think my cousin Elsa's coming on next. We'll talk to her and then.
Elsa D's.
All right, we're out of here. Coach Earley on the other side. Welcome back to TexAgs Live on a Thursday morning, May 13th. We are in the Rollo Insurance Studios. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. Ryan Brauninger sitting in for a little while longer as we await the return of David Nuño And we welcome in, like we do every Thursday, the head coach of the Fighting Texas Aggie baseball team, Michael Earley. Man, texting you a little bit last night, you're dealing with a lot of stuff. It's like the scene in Bull Durham when they go out to the mound and Crash Davis tells them all the
You
stuff.
want to find some humor in it? Yes.
Yeah, we're dealing with a lot of stuff.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's part of it. It happens. It's funny. Anything in seasons, and we're not at the end, but as you move, like anything beginning or towards the end, always is more glaring than if it's in the middle, and people have to deal with stuff. We just happen to be dealing with a lot, but that's why you have a roster of 38 players or whatever we have now. I'm not exactly sure the exact
You
number.
squeeze every bit out of it.
But, I mean, you can tell we're still, more than competitive, so we're excited to play this weekend.
Yeah, a really good team coming in here. First of all, what can you tell us about Mississippi State? Starting pitching is, again, going to be a big challenge.
Yeah, they're good. I mean, the guy we're going to see tonight's really, really good. The guy's probably going to be a major leaguer. Shocker, another ace in the SEC that's going to pitch has a really good shot to pitch in the big leagues, you know. I mean, they do everything well. They're real similar. I mean, all these teams are we're all kind of molded the same with maybe some outlier differences here and there, but they're a team like Auburn, Ole Miss, not quite similar, not like Florida, a little bit on the mound, but just they're really good. They're really good. They got some guys that can really hit. They got some guys that can really pitch. A lot of guys that you're going to see play in the major leagues one day.
And just the overall health of your ball club, the only reason I'm asking is because the availability report comes out, and you have Nico Liston is questionable and Boston is probable. It seems to me, just based on that, they're going in the right direction.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But, you're walking a fine line of, hey, you kind of know what's at stake with a series win this weekend, but also you can't jeopardize what's going to happen in the future with those two guys in the postseason.
Yeah, I mean, it's two different things. Like, Boston's is like you pull a hamstring, like, you're walking a fine line. Like, Boston, like, it's not really getting any better until like, it's going to take time for that to heal. Mm-hmm. So it's, yeah, if he, in 6 months from now when he's fully healed, if he gets hit in the face again, it's going to hurt again. So it's two different things. So Boston, I just got to make sure, he's good mentally and he's not trying to.
He seems like he's going to fight you to try to play.
Yeah, I mean,
type of kid he is.
But it's two different things. Like it's just two different injuries. Like, Boston's not going to be any better a week from now or 2 weeks from now than he is today at this moment. Like, if he's full C, full everything, it's not changing. Nico is a different story. So yeah, there's definitely a balance and when you use the guys and how. But again, I'll talk to Boston today and we'll kind of see what we got.
How has Nico moved around at practice? What has he been able to do?
Yeah. He's moving. I mean, he's hitting. Full go on hitting. Which back with like Sorrell last year, like that wasn't the case. He couldn't even hit, which made it even more impressive with what he did when he came back. So yeah, he's been jogging, and yeah, we have a progression in how we do things, and got a team around him to do it. I mean, part of our trainer does a really good job, and then we got a strength coach that was in the major leagues. As part of his job was rehab coordinator. So we got a lot of good people around him. We just got to. All being said, hamstring's a hamstring. It don't matter. You know what I mean? You got to make sure everyone's different. Everyone reacts differently. You got to make sure it's the right time.
And then Chris, is any further along getting just more comfortable on that leg?
Yeah. I mean, the thing with Chris is the thing that's hurting him is the games.
Yeah.
But we need him to play in the games. So, he goes like this, and then he plays some games, and we go back down. So I'm hoping we keep peaking in the valleys, peaks and valleys get a little higher and smaller or however. But yeah, that's just part of it. Like, it's kind of the give and take of what we need from it.
With no Aiden this weekend, does it give you a little bit of freedom to all right, I'm going to manage tonight. We'll see how tonight goes, and then we'll figure out tomorrow legitimately once we're off the field tonight.
Yeah, I think there's some things. I think you got some guys that you can throw in situations that allows them to throw in multiple games. But it's still got to be right. Score dictates that sometimes situation, maybe the hitter, but we look at some guys in our bullpen as like two guys. So how you use those guys is important to be able, so they are two guys. Mm-hmm. But when you can grab a win, you got to grab a win. So it's a yes and no. It's just really It's just so funny how you try to line things up and see it, and then
It'll never
changes.
happen that way. Yeah.
Sometimes it does, and you're like, oh, here we go, here we go, here we
Yeah.
go. It's great, but it just really, I think guys are gonna have to pitch better. I mean, and that we have guys that are. So like Shane has pitched better, Weston has pitched better, Darden's better than what he pitched the other day. There's gonna have someone to come in and do it. It's just how it is. Like some of these guys, there's hitters and there's pitchers, and not everyone has the season they could have dreamed of from a personal standpoint. But everyone can have a moment or moments when it matters, and that's what we're going to need. Guys are going to have to, someone like, the guy goes 7 for 7, right? Like, that's unheard of. We're going to have a guy on the mound. Not like that, because that's wild, but like, going to have to perform.
In 2024, Caden Kent came off the bench and historic run all the way through the end of the College World Series. I don't know if Ben Royo, he's not going to go 7 for 7, but with Ben, it's always the ability's not been the question. It's just been the consistency. So if this was a light bulb moment for him, he can ride this momentum through the end of the year, and he becomes a huge piece to what y'all are doing.
Yeah, Ben's super talented, and I mean, obviously, right? Like he can play. Like it's not like he, you look as a coach, you're like, dang, you know what I mean? Like you just never know, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, he's playing like for sure. Like,
He's got to play. Yeah. I mean, I think now, regardless of the health of Boston, like,
yeah, I mean, it's a tough situation, but I mean, Boston won the job early on, and you can look at batting average and all that, but I've sitting here a million times, like on base percentage is a huge thing, especially in our lineup and how it's constructed. And but yeah, like Ben's playing, and we're excited for him to play, and he did a really good job. And he's, again, everyone keeps himself ready, however they keep themselves ready, and he clearly kept himself ready.
yeah. And to go back to the pitching comment you made, what do you think? Now, going back and looking at Shane's outing in Oxford, what do you think it was? Was it a truncated, shortened warm-up time, or was it just a mentality shift? Can he empty the tank out of the pen?
I don't think he emptied the tank because I don't have it right. That was a while ago, but I can't remember how many he threw. But he threw probably as long as he's thrown in most of his starts. I think just switching it up a little bit, right? Like changing the whole routine. Like, you got the starters they got all day, they're hanging out, they're just everything about their start. And really, he was just kind of down there, and there was kind of some traffic early. It's like, hey, get Shane moving around. So it was just like I think probably that had something to do with it. And I think he just like went and played baseball. Like he didn't make it more than it was. And maybe he did before, maybe he didn't, but there was clearly something different. It definitely helps. Darden is a different style. They're both left-handed, but they throw completely different pitches. So I think a lot of it played into it. But I think the biggest thing that played into it is Shane's really good, and that's who he is, and I think he'll continue to be that.
As you look ahead at managing 81 outs over the course of this weekend, somebody's got to go get the outs that Aiden Sims was getting. Is there an increased role in terms of time on mound in game for Hunter Bond? Because he's only thrown 7 1/3. Again, he's coming off of a couple of injuries, but I mean, he had his best outing in Oxford. And you mentioned like Ben Royo getting hot. Somebody getting hot. It looks like Hunter Bond on the pitching side would be a name that you could look at for that.
Yeah, we got to make sure he's got to be. He went 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did a really good job. Which again, I think I told you before. I thought that was important innings because we needed to get that game over with. So it wasn't just. I mean, he's gonna pitch, and as long as you're getting outs, we're gonna keep you in. So he's never went back to back. He's never went twice in a weekend. That might happen. We just really have to see how he responds because he's been on a long trek of injury. But right now he looks great. So it's really just about how he responds. And the other day he went 2. It looked like he could have went 4. So if it happens, it happens.
And within that, understanding that you're trying to piece together outs and find guys to ride a hot hand, there are some talented freshmen that have just not been on the mound much in Billings and Vincent. Is there a role for them going forward?
There's a role for everyone down there, right? And you're going to get a shot. Well, in a perfect world, you don't, honestly. These guys eat up chunks of innings, but in reality, that's going to happen, especially, not looking ahead, but next week, you win a couple games, it's going to happen. So, yeah, there's a role. They all threw on Wednesday. Vincent was great. he's had those before. He's kind of been back and forth, just like most freshmen and Luke Billings. So those guys are ultra talented. Like, they're going to be really good. I hope they have a moment where they're really good this year, and I think they can. Like, you saw the jump Sims made, right?
Mm-hmm.
Same person. These guys are just as talented, so they're going to get an opportunity, and they have to be ready. And they've been working, so it's not like we're just throwing them out there and trying to figure it out. Like, they pitch every week. It just hasn't been in games that count.
You're at the part of the year now where no classes, guys who can be at the ballpark all day, and you didn't have a midweek. And you gave them two days off, which is not traditional. How do you think the response was? How was the energy good at practice? All that kind of stuff.
It was great. And it's like Sunday. I mean, we went back-to-back weekends, doubleheaders. Sunday, when you travel, it never feels like an off day. Like, even we get the beauty of chartering, but it still wears you out. So they came in Tuesday and were great. Most of the guys, when you give these guys an off day, like, I walk by the cage on Monday and
You're in there hitting.
Yeah. So it's kind of just like on your own time, but they've been good. They've been good all year. Like, they've never given me any reason to believe that they won't be ready to play at all times. And then the games we haven't played well, sometimes you get baseballed, but I think this team has proven it's resilient, and they respond, and they're ready to go. We'll play anyone, any place, anytime. It seems like, you know what I mean. And I just think that great. You just go back to the leadership at the top and those guys and how they control, that ecosystem of the locker room, and everything has been it's about as good as I've ever seen.
You guys hit 9 homers in that doubleheader against Ole Miss. None of them came from Gavin or Jorian. They got hits, but you didn't see the ball leave the ballpark. Jorian had ground ball base hits, which is not unique to him, but it's just one of the more outlier outcomes for him. When they have weekends like that, are you like, I kind of look at it like, all right, like at some point Jorian is going to go on a run here because he's having good swings. He's not punching as much. He's starting to understand things. And then Gavin's, like, the barrel quality is just so high right now that the ball's going to get elevated.
Yeah, that's the beauty of having a deep lineup.
Yeah.
You don't got to count on a couple guys to carry every weekend, because in a sport where when you hit 300 and getting out 7 times means you're good, like, it's just hard to do. So Jorian, we've been working on a couple things to clean him up and kind of get him back to where he was, and he's close. And then, when it all clicks, the lineup is, you can have and it didn't even all click in a game where you score 15 runs off that starter giving up 5 home runs on the year. He gave up 4 in that game. He's projected first-round pick. Like, when it hits, it can hit. Now, the thing about baseball is you don't know who it's going to be, when it's going to be. So that's why having quality at-bats, and you look at the second game, where it doesn't matter how good you are. If everyone is not doing their job and you have lulls in the lineup, you're going to get beat. So it's really just about having consistent at-bats. But when our style offense plays, right, consistent at-bats, wearing out the pitcher, swinging at strikes, taking balls, doing damage on your pitch. When you execute that, it can really work. When you execute that with a lot of really good players, it can be really, really good.
You overwhelm people.
Yeah.
And one of the key figures to me in your lineup this year has been Bear. Started off super slow, and you kept him in the 8-hole even as he started to go good because of the value he was bringing, he and Boston, with the on-base, with the opportunities for Gavin and Sorrell. But with the injuries, you kind of had to steadily move him up, and he's still the same guy. Like, this dude, I would imagine when you go into an offseason recruiting high school guys or portal guys, and you talk about development, look at what Bear has done in your program. And, like, no matter where you've put him, he's just steadily gotten better.
Yeah, and I think the 8-hole thing was great, right? It worked out. I think there's sometimes where lineup construction can make it look like it's really important, and sometimes it doesn't. Right. So you just never know on what given day it's going to be. It's like we had a time in the season where, like, every time the 6-hole came up, we should bunt. It's like, that's not really how it works. Right. And I even said it. I'm like, is this how and then it changes.
But TK was hitting there for a little bit too.
Yeah. So anyway, he's been, Bear's like one of my just all-time favorite, like, just players to be around. And he's just awesome. Like, he brings it every day. His at-bats have been great. Man, you can see just how he's, from the fall when he came last year to now, his ability to. And
Troy deserves a lot of credit for the defensive stuff.
He deserves a ton of credit, like, huge amount of credit. And him and Bear and all those guys work really hard. And he just, when he stays on baseballs, and he's really, really good. right? Like he is, and
It's a
he's
story
doing,
for every hitter of all time.
Yeah, I think Bear's ability though, he's got a unique ability to his pull side loft is pretty impressive.
Mhm.
You know, some guys they stay on it, they still hook it, but like when Bear stays on it, he lofts the ball to the pull side about as good as anyone I've ever seen. So, yeah, man, I kind of lost your question a little bit. I was just thinking
Just about the progression. Yeah. And like what you can sell that, man. Like Bear's progression as a hitter and y'all's
Yeah, I mean, Bear, you give me. I'd sign Bear to a 10-year deal if that were. Who knows what the rules now? I give Bear a 10-year deal
creative.
right now.
Before we get you out of here, final chance to play in the regular season game at Bluebell Park. Obviously, you have some success this weekend. That's the goal, is to keep playing games at Bluebell Park. But man, it seems like the fan base, it's been great all year. But from that Texas weekend, I've said it a bunch. The Saturday game against Texas, where you go Bear double, Kellner walk, Grahovic triple, Sorrell double. From that moment on, the fan base has like launched itself back into one of these stratospheres that can make that place intimidating, but also rally around the team. How much have you appreciated watching? From your perch, you're very stoic when you coach games, but you had a chance to look around at what you're coaching in some of these atmospheres.
Oh yeah, I think one of my favorite parts is when they play the war hymn before the game. It's kind of like you're in our place now, right? And you just feel like you feel that around you. And our fans always show up, and it's an advantage. Like we've won some games here throughout my time here, whatever, that you can see the other team not handle it right. So it's great. I mean, you just kind of feel like what'd you call it, a perch? Is that what you said?
You're
a porch.
Your perch. Your perch from the top of the dugout.
Yeah. No, it's I don't know. It's baseball, right? You're not actually fighting anyone or anything like that, but it kind of feels like it, and it feels great to be surrounded by people wearing your colors that are on your side. So, and our guys love it. It's huge. It's just huge on many levels. Like it helps with the game. It helps with recruiting. You're on all of it. It's just really special to be a part of.
Well, you're going to have plenty of clips to add to your recruiting pitch highlight reels. But also another update, if you can. I know last week you talked about, or maybe it was Monday, you talked about the new facility being obnoxiously big. When will people be able to start seeing some progress reports on it? Do y'all have any plans to put out what you can in terms of the development? And when will it be functional enough for y'all to bring people in and show them around? Like,
honestly, I haven't even thought about putting that out, which would be great, and we will. We're just right now. I've just been thinking about the games, and I know they're building it over there. It's not quite. I mean, it's all white walled. I think the nets are coming in. I don't know if I want to put out pictures of anything until it's done.
Okay,
but I'll give you some. I'm not against. Maybe you can give it to your subscribers or something like that. But so they said we could, like, about a month ago, they're like, yeah, if you guys want to get in the hitting part in the middle of May to end of May, we can have it done. And I was like, that's great, but no, like we're not changing
the routine.
We're not changing our space and our area, and there's way more that goes into it than that. So it'll be done, all the way done, no doubt, by like July, August. And I'm giving them some leeway there because I don't want to put too much pressure on them. I don't quite remember exactly what they said, the exact date right at this moment. So that'll be done in the summer. So all our guys in the fall next year will have the cages, the weight room, the new lobby, all of that. So when we play our last game here, they'll take down our current cages. That area will be the locker room, nutrition lounge, players lounge. That'll get done about like December of this year.
Okay.
So the players in the fall will have all of the weight room, the hitting cage, the pitching lab, all of that. They'll still be in the old locker room. When they come back in January, they'll have it all.
Yep. All right, man. Well, good luck this weekend. It should be a lot of fun. Big series.
Yeah, it'll be good.
That's Texas A&M head baseball coach Michael Earley. When we come back on TexAgs Live, will David show up? There's a Cowshy bet going on in the back with Reese Nygren. We'll see. Here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. Bottom of the 9 o'clock hour on a Thursday morning. Ryan Brauninger in the host chair for just a little bit longer on TexAgs Live inside the Rollo Insurance Studios. Our program is presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. Let's go over to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center, where we welcome in Carson Stein, who I want to unequivocally say does not look like David Koresh. I don't think that you are somehow distantly related to David Koresh. I want to completely put out any fires that Stephen McGee started 30 minutes ago.
I appreciate that. I don't think I look like him. I know I'm not related to him.
Stephen comes in here with really weird energy. I think whenever he goes to his real job, he's got to act like a grown-up.
He lets out all his energy out here.
So whenever he comes in here, he kind of like teen maxes.
That's a word to say, yeah. You could say that.
What do you got?
I just wanted to get your opinion. I know you've covered him closely. Devon Achane signed a 4-year, $68 million contract extension with Miami with $32 million guaranteed.
Yeah, I don't think I have to tell anybody about my affinity for Devon Achane as a football player, but also as a human being. Like, when people ask me who's the best player I've ever covered, like, as quick as I can get it out, Devon Achane. It's not even close still. And I've covered some incredible players, but Devon was a different level. And it was so I'm super happy for him, just from his upbringing at Fort Bend Marshall, and then to what he turned into at Texas A&M. And his senior year at Fort Bend Marshall, like, I kind of stood on the table for him as the best player in the state. And that was an incredibly talented class that had come through, Texas. And there were some national people that, and some other regional people that had an issue with how much I was pumping, because they would say, he can't run between the tackles. He's a third down. He's kind of a gimmick back. And it's like, I don't see that. Like, I don't think he's that. And then sure enough, a really decorated career at A&M. Even if you think he was underutilized, I think there's a very good argument that you can make that he was improperly used at Texas A&M, but still goes on and has now got to that second contract. And not only just the second contract in the NFL, but one as lucrative as it is, it shows you his value to the people that are making those type of financial decisions. So I'm super happy for Devon, and I'd love to see him come back and play in Houston one day, and just maybe, after this contract's over, his last big one for his career is with his hometown team. But it seems this, he does well with Miami because he's such a low-key guy. Like, I remember talking to some of his coaches in high school about Devon, and I was like, what's he like off the field? And they're like, man, all he cares about is running the football and playing video games. That's all he wants to do. Like, he doesn't want to go out. He doesn't want to act a fool. He just wants to play video games and run the football.
I've actually played NBA 2K, what is this now, 26, and I was in the same lobby as Devon Achane.
Wow. He beat you?
I didn't play against him. I just saw him.
Yeah.
It's my claim to fame.
Anything else you got?
You guys kind of talked about it earlier, but I wanted to get your reaction. So CBS posted their every team in the SEC spring overreaction, and for Texas A&M, they said linebacker production is worrisome, especially with Damian Sanford out with the leg injury. I know you guys talked about it earlier, but I want to get your opinion on that.
Yeah, sure. So they lose Torian York and you lose Scooby Williams, and then you have on top of that the Damian injury in the spring game. Probably a valid question for somebody looking through it, for the telescope. But when you get through a microscope and you really dive in, now that, especially after Mike Elko's comments at the Dallas A&M Dallas Aggie Club meeting last night, they fully anticipate Damian being back and ready to play this season. We went into that. Like, that's why you don't rush to conclusions about injuries, especially if they're not coming from people with really close ties to the program. And you learn more about these things in the days after, not in the moment. And I thought everybody kind of rushed, and Billy made that same point, was everybody rushed to be first to report that Damian was out for a long time. And I think it's just the emotion of the importance of Damian Sanford and then what the injury looked like. Everybody just made this giant assumption. So that critique about A&M is probably a little bit fair from somebody that really hasn't dove into what the linebacker room is going to look like. But you listen to Billy talk, and he talks about Noah McHale, and he talks about Ray Coney, and even some of these freshmen that look like they're ready to step in and maybe not be every down contributors. And he also, Jordan Lockhart, a seasoned veteran, as a depth piece there. But maybe these true freshmen aren't ready to come in and make immediate impacts in terms of playing 30 snaps a game, but they're on the same type of trajectory as Noah McHale, where you just kind of steady kind of spoon feed them throughout the year, and then they ultimately, you look up in week 11, week 10, week 11 of the season, and they're on the field quite a bit. So I think they've done a great job with the room. It'll be interesting to see how Travis Williams, the new linebacker coach, some things maybe that he emphasized that Jay Bateman didn't, and maybe they play with a different style and a different edge. But we'll see all that. But I would say fair critique from somebody really far removed from the program. But if you've been kind of keeping up with the day-to-day, I think the coaching staff feels pretty confident in what they got at linebacker. All right, that's the bottom of the bottom of the 9 o'clock hour. We are going to pass the baton here. Okay, I've got something I've got to go do. David is not back yet, so Aaron Torres on the other side of the break. Maybe Nuño's back. If he's not, it'll be Nick Savage taking control of that interview here on TexAgs Live on a Thursday morning. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
No, one time I was playing 2K.
Was a perfect promo to bring us back for this segment with Aaron Torres of Fox Sports Radio and AaronTorres.com. That Paul Feinbaum show promo about Lane Kiffin. I know AT's got a take. We'll go out to the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline and talk to our good friend Aaron Torres. And AT, before you ask, I know it's not David, it's me. David's hanging out with his kids. They get a cool award from school today, so he should be back here sometime soon. But you're stuck with me today. How are you today?
Well, I'm well. Always a privilege to talk to you, Nick. I'm happy for David's kids. I know he thinks I'm going to say something sarcastic, but, listen, I think family time is important. And not that the audience cares, but, this is the time of year. I know how much David does travel, especially during football season. So, I know that I'll be kind of in and out the next few weeks, and I know a lot of people in our business are. He deserves the time off, so I know Nuño thinks I'm going to say something sarcastic, so let me just say he deserves the time off, but it is also an absolute pleasure to speak with you, Nick.
I appreciate that, but hey, let's get into that Lane Kiffin situation, man. It's been a weird deal, going after, just cannot stop going after his old school, so I'll just let you take it from there. What have you thought about this whole deal? Sark getting in on it, Ole Miss AD, everything blowing up over there. So take it away.
Yeah, I'll try to. There's so many layers to it, but I thought the initial comments were grotesque, honestly. And I said this, David knows Ryan Fowler from Tuscaloosa. I said this on Ryan Fowler's show the other day, to use the worst stereotypes about any place. And, it could have been if Mike Elko left somewhere and said stuff about A&M. It doesn't matter. But to use the worst stereotypes about a place to justify your behaviors and decision, it's grotesque. It really is. And I know people, Torres, it's not that big of a deal. It's disgusting. It really is. And what I go back to is all the conversations that we had in November and early December when all this was unfolding. Nobody's arguing that Ole Miss is a better job than LSU. Nobody is arguing that a lot of sane people would have made the same decision that Lane Kiffin did. But what I would also argue is a lot of sane people would have moved on, been gracious that Ole Miss gave him an opportunity. Not only, Nick, let's talk about it. It's not only Ole Miss gave him an opportunity when nobody in the SEC would.
Yeah.
Let's not forget how many jobs that he was linked to after he got the Ole Miss job where he was a total non-starter. Oh, it's easy to forget this now. Lane Kiffin, total non-starter the last time the LSU job opened when Brian Kelly was hired. Mm-hmm. Lane Kiffin, a total non-starter when Alabama needed a coach a few years ago. Florida went through multiple coaching searches and ultimately seemingly had no real interest in him. And so I just bring it up because Ole Miss gave him a chance, and, to his credit, he performed well enough to be a candidate or to be the candidate to get the LSU job. But just thank Ole Miss, say thank you, be grateful. But to use that stereotype I thought was gross. And then the other thing that I've been pretty persistent on, the stereotype, whether, again, I can't speak to hundreds of conversations that Lane Kiffin had behind the scenes. It didn't seem to hurt recruiting because he had, and I looked this up and I don't have the numbers right off the top of my head, but his last 3 years, I believe, the number 3 ranked transfer portal class 2 off seasons ago, so not this past off season, but the off season before, the number 1 portal class in 2024, and then in 2023, he actually had the number 2 class, and the only reason he had the number 2 portal class was because that was the year that Deion got to Colorado and brought in 50 or 60 players.
Yeah.
And so the notion that he couldn't recruit is simply not true. And I'll just wrap on this and throw it back to you. People will say, well, he didn't recruit high school well. Lane Kiffin doesn't want to recruit high school. It's a known thing in the industry. Lane Kiffin doesn't like recruiting. He'd much rather spend 2 weeks grinding in the portal than 2 years, flying to high schools all over the country. So I could keep going. And he is a good football coach, and he deserves credit for elevating Ole Miss. But I wish he would just leave it at, hey, we had some great times. I am on to something else. I wish you guys the best every week that you're not playing me. But obviously Lane Kiffin can't do that.
Absolutely, AT. Let's move it to, this actually broke last Thursday, but in the afternoon. So I know you're going to have some thoughts on this. The NCAA tournament officially expanding to 76 teams just leads to a bunch of play-in games. So your thoughts on an expanded tournament, which we knew was coming, right? The reports came out that it was heading that direction. But now it's official. What do you think about that?
I think I've said this with Nuño. There are a lot of things that, as somebody who covers this stuff day in and day out and thinks about this stuff day in and day out, we can all see, dumb things coming. I mean, I remember arguing with people 10 years ago about NIL, and it's like, just pay the players. What's the worst that could happen? And I'm like, no. Like, nobody's against paying the players, but we have to figure out a system where it's not just a free-for-all, which is exactly what it's turned into. And so, like you said, Nick, we could all see this coming. I think what's kind of disappointing is a few things. Is one, nobody wants it, right? So, like, college football playoff, when we went from 4 to 12, we'll go minimum 12 to 16 here, maybe even more. People do want college football playoff expansion. People did want to go from 4 to 12. I don't know if it was a 90-10 issue, but I think it was, at minimum 50-50 and probably more the majority in favor of expansion. Nobody wants the NCAA tournament expanded. And I would also say this, too. No coaches were consulted. I thought CBS Sports' Matt Norlander did a really good piece last week where he spoke with, Mark Few and John Calipari and a bunch of big names, Dan Hurley, and none of them were in favor of this either. So the fans don't want it. The coaches don't want it. That's the disappointing part. If there was a tangible reason other than, hey, we're broke as the NCAA because we keep getting sued and have to go to court over everything, I'd be down to hear what the alternative is, but the alternative isn't anything other than we're broke and we need more money and we're willing to ruin the best thing that we have. Not ruin, but, make worse the best thing that we have. Mm-hmm. So I could go on, but it's disappointing. The world will keep going on. But I said this the other day, Nick, it doesn't make the regular season better. It doesn't make conference tournament week better, and it doesn't make the NCAA tournament better. And so it's the rare trifecta that makes literally every segment of the college basketball season worse. But hey, nobody could, if they're not listening to Mark Few and Dan Hurley, they're certainly not going to listen to Aaron Torres. And so I just kind of, got over it, and it is what it is,
Hey, well, so what do you think? I've been thinking about this more lately as we trend towards, obviously, already got the NCAA basketball tournament expansion, trending towards college football playoff expansion. Who knows what they'll do with baseball, softball down the road? Who knows? But what do you think that does for expectations for head coaches across the country?
So here's the thing, and, so I think with all of this expansion, I don't think it protects coaches. We know what the standard is at all of these places, right? So Texas A&M, Tennessee, LSU, Brian Kelly, like if I had just blanket told you Brian Kelly won, 67, 68% of his games in 4 years at LSU, nobody has that guy on the hot seat. But it's LSU, and the expectation is compete at the highest level every single year. 10-3 and getting blown out twice is not the expectation. And so, I just bring it up because, you can go to 10, you could go to, in college football, you could go to 24, you can go to 36, you can go to whatever. If a Florida fan, if that program isn't living up to the expectations of the fan, congrats on being the 23 seed and going 7-5. Like, you're not keeping your job. And it's obviously much the same in college basketball as well. Auburn would have been in the NCAA tournament last year if it was at 76 teams. Auburn's season was still a disappointment, and Auburn fans were not happy with the performance of Stephen Pearl in that season. And that doesn't change, and he's obviously not going to get fired after year one, but having an NCAA tournament bid in a season where you were, I think, 17-16 the day of Selection Sunday, the numbers are skewed a little bit because obviously he won a bunch of games in the NIT. Like, that's not a successful season. And you have 2 or 3 more of those. Again, congrats. You're the 73rd seed in the NCAA tournament, and you're playing on Tuesday at 2 p.m. in Dayton. Congratulations. Wow. That's the thing. And Nick, it's a great question by you, because I think most coaches usually have a better pulse on things than certainly the people that are making administrative decisions in the ivory tower in Indianapolis at the NCAA headquarters.
Yep.
I think if you're arguing that this is going to help protect jobs, I just don't think it is. I just don't think it is, especially now that we're paying players and the players deserve the money that they're getting, but it raises expectations. We know what a roster costs, and we know if that roster is living up to expectations or not. And so I think the coaches, any coach that thinks they're protected by making a watered-down postseason event, I just simply don't agree with.
Absolutely. And hey, last thing here for you, AT. I don't know if you saw this. The ACC commissioner, Jim Phillips, recently came out and he backed a 24-team expanded college football playoff while we're on the topic of expanding playoffs. I find it funny that the ACC commissioner, the commissioner of the conference that didn't get a college football or a team in the college football playoffs this past year, is supporting expansion. So your takeaways on Jim Phillips supporting that move?
Well, I don't mean to be this guy, Nick. They did get a team in, and they played pretty well. It was Miami.
Oh my gosh!
Your broader
of course.
Point, it's okay, buddy. Listen. It's all good. But your broader point is 1,000% correct. Is that, and again, this is like, dude, I feel like I sound like I'm 100 years old, but this is the participation trophyization of our sports ecosystem. Is the ACC thinks that they are going to get more teams into a playoff if there's 24. They might go from 1 to 2, but if the teams don't improve, it's so simple, right? The Big Ten, just all you got to do is look at the Big Ten. 7-8 years ago, it was not the SEC, and then everybody started pouring money into their schools. Michigan, Indiana. All these schools, Oregon obviously joined the league. USC is spending now. UCLA got a real coach, and they have a top 5 recruiting class in the country right now for 2027. I just bring it up because there's no secret. You can expand again, what we just talked about, 24, 36, 82, 79, whatever. If you don't have the right teams and the right player, and I'm all over the place, but let's go back to what I just said about Miami. Miami has the right coach in place. They're rolling. I would argue Florida State does not have the right coach in place. I would argue North Carolina does not have the right coach in place.
Yep.
I would argue Clemson has a Hall of Fame legend coach who probably isn't the right coach for this era. Now, counter that. I would argue Oregon has the right coach in place. Indiana has the right coach in place. I would argue, even though he hasn't coached the game, Michigan has the right coach in place. Ohio State has the right coach in place. And so I just bring it up because that's what it comes down to. And to your point, and it's the 100% accurate one, is of course the ACC is a proponent of it because they think it helps them, when in reality, the only thing that will help them is playing better freaking football. And so it's frustrating, but it is what it is,
I got you. Hey, AT, I appreciate your time. We'll talk to you next week, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Next week, you or Nuño got to ask me more positive questions. I feel like I was so negative and angry in this show.
That's
so
my
I'm sorry.
That's my fault. That's my fault.
Just trying to drink their coffee. Everyone's trying to drink their coffee and relax, and Torres is screaming. But thank you, Nick, and I'll talk to you guys next week, okay?
Alrighty, sounds good. That's Aaron Torres on the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. We'll hit a break here, and on the other side, we'll go over to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center and find out what's on TexAgs today. You're listening to TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. Carson Stein, we don't run from our mistakes that we make live on air. I knew Miami made the playoffs last year. I think I meant to say the conference champion didn't get in. I'm an idiot. Anyways, we'll move on. Let's go over to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Carson, we got about a minute. Let us know what's on TexAgs today.
So today on TexAgs, we're going to have softball regional preview content and baseball game coverage. It's a kind of a slow day, kind of a slow night. So
Slow day, yeah.
tune into the baseball game. Let us know. Tune into the forum. I mean, it's pretty simple.
The boards. You can say that
the boards.
too. Yeah.
Become a premium subscriber. If you're not a premium subscriber, what are you doing?
Exactly. Richard's got all your coverage of Texas A&M and Mississippi State tonight, 6 o'clock first pitch in that one. Should be fun. Yeah, plenty of Texas Aggies United content to catch up on as well. So we'll hit a break here. David is en route. I know he's on his way. You will hear from me one more time at the top of the hour. We'll run a Wilkin Formby NIL interview. You'll hear a little bit of that. And then we'll get to David in an interview with a gentleman who wrote an article recently about Mike Elko that featured Billy Lucci in it. So interesting read. We'll get his thoughts on the Texas A&M football program. That and more on the other side. You're listening to TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. It wasn't you, Kate. It was me. Welcome back in. TexAgs Live here. 10 o'clock hour. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. Nick Savage sitting in for a brief moment as David Nuño will be here shortly. He will talk to a USA Today college football columnist, Blake Toppmeyer, after this NIL interview we're going to run here. And before that, can you read David's text in, Carson, before we hit that that interview? Yeah.
So David in Temple texted after Nick called himself an idiot last segment. He said, "If you're an idiot, Nick, never fear, because you are our idiot, and we know how you do a great job."
I think it couldn't be said any better. I appreciate that, David. So I'm going to get out of the way. You're about to hear David Nuño's interview with Wilkin Formby. He joined the huddle just recently, and when that, or I guess when David gets here and is all situated, we'll cut that off, and you'll hear from Blake Toppmeyer of USA Today. So here's David's huddle episode with Wilkin Formby.
Everybody, and welcome into the huddle, brought to you by TexAgs and United, sponsored by the 12th Man Foundation. Our guest is Wilkin Formby. What's up, Wilkin? How you been, buddy?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Wonderful. Thanks for joining us. So last time you were here, a couple days before the spring game, just talk to me about how your spring went, how the spring game, the whole thing. Just kind of give me an update on everything.
Yeah, spring was a great experience, just like finally getting settled in on campus in the early months in January, February, things like that, but being very eager to practice and just kind of get that first practice under my belt in a new school, new system, new coaches. How do we do indie? How do we stretch? How do we finish practice? What does that look like? So getting the layout of practice, getting the format was very important for me, and that was something I was very eager and I was anticipating in a sense, but just getting going was great. Being able to see how well I'm going to get coached this year. It was kind of like an intro to that, and just being around my teammates and my coaches, it was a great experience.
Well, how much have you, like, being a good player like you are, a very good player, how better do you feel after going through the spring, heading into the new season? Like, now that you've got that behind you, like the you don't need the name tags anymore, you know the system, you know the routine. How much better are you for fall camp?
Yeah, that definitely makes a big difference. And it's honestly like a freshman in high school. The difference in early enrolling and not early enrolling is a way that you could kind of explain it. But just being able to get that spring under your belt. But I just feel more confident, more comfortable. Once the procedures are going so smoothly, you understand, like, we're going to have a meeting in the morning and then we're going to go here and then it's going to lead to this. It's just, it takes a lot of pressure off. And then also, like, your first impression is everything and you can't get it back. And so that was something that I wanted to capitalize on. And also just being new here, like working into a leadership role and being able to invest into some of the younger guys, because we have a lot of young guys who have a great opportunity to play.
Wilkin, I do want to ask something. So I had Jordan Shaw in the studio a little while ago. I don't know why I asked it, but it was just, it felt like a good question at the moment. So I'm going to ask it to you. Do you remember when you fell in love with football? Was there a moment, were you a kid, were you, middle school, high, like wherever, were you like, okay, this is my passion, this is my love?
First off, that's a great question. And I think it kind of brings us back to, like you said, why we play football. And like the football that we play now is, you can lose sight of the game because of all the stuff that's going on in our lives and all the attention and the doing a podcast, doing this, doing that, getting pulled in so many different directions. It can kind of lose sight of it. But at the end of the day, it is just a game. And so I do remember from a young age, just playing football in my backyard with my neighbors. And then also my story is probably different than a lot of people. So I grew up playing a bunch of sports, but I wasn't really good at many sports because I was this big, lanky guy, really awkward, didn't have my body figured out. And so I do remember, like, football always came a lot easier to me than the other sports. And I did love, like, because at a young age, you kind of like, these guys don't know it, but like they're mentors to us. And so like I would look to these people on TV and be like, I want to be like that when I get older. And then growing up in a college town, football's always in front of you. But I do remember my first tackle football practice, I was going to pick out my jersey number, and one of my favorite players was Mean Joe Green with the Steelers, and he played D-line for the Steelers a long time ago, and he wore number 75, and I saw all the jerseys sitting out, and I said, I want to wear number 75. I want to be like Mean Joe Green, one of the best D-linemen ever. And so that's the small memories I remember about the passion of playing football.
Hey, look, one of the things I remember is when you were in here, we had some fun at the end of the interview. So do you mind if we have some fun asking some weird questions?
I would love to.
All right. So here's my first one. If your offensive line was a boy band, what would be the name of that boy band?
Shoot. Oh no, I'm not too fond of a bunch of bands, but I guess I don't know. I don't know. I guess I'll say this. Since I just watched the Michael Jackson movie, I guess we'll be the Jackson 5, and Mark Naboo will be Michael Jackson because he's the star of the show, and we'll just be in the back singing with him.
There we go. The Jackson 5, okay. The Naboo 5. Would you rather run a mile in wet socks or eat your pregame meal ice cold for the entire season?
I would rather you just run 1 mile.
Yep. Wet socks, though. Gross. Like,
I mean, that's already a task enough, but I'm kind of used to running in wet socks from sweating a lot. And plus the pregame meal, like, I don't know. It's just like, it has to be right. The pregame meal can't be wrong. It's got to be right. So I would say run a mile.
What is the worst excuse that you've heard in your life from a teammate for being late to practice?
Can you say that one more time? It cut out a little bit. What is what?
What is the worst excuse you've heard?
All right, we're not going to do any more Jumbotron interviews. We're just going to have some fun here on TexAgs Live. Appreciate the TexAgs staff covering my back so I could run to the high school real quick to watch my boys get something and rush back. Excited about our next interview on the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Blake Toppmeyer writes for USA Today. I think he did a brilliant job describing Coach Elko and what makes him fit at Texas A&M, and it may not be what you think. Let's go and talk to him. Blake, thanks for joining us here on the program.
Yeah, absolutely. Good to be with you.
So I thought you did a great job. I have some thoughts on why I think Coach Elko works, but when I read your article, it really it presented it in a way that I hadn't thought of before. So I guess let's just start things off. Why is he such a great fit for Texas A&M?
Yeah, it's really interesting because I asked Mike Elko that question very early on in my interview with him last month. And Elko kind of surprised me because he said point blankly, I don't know that I fit Texas at all, honestly. And I'm like, whoa, wait a second here. Let's unpack that. And he wasn't saying that as a dig in any way. He was I took it as him being authentic, and he really laid it out to me. He told me the story the first time he was at Texas A&M when he was the defensive coordinator, and how during the house hunting process, I guess realtors were showing him houses, and he'd see these gun lockers, the gun vaults built into Texas homes. And he was like, what am I looking at here? And they're like, that's where you store your guns. And he says, that's a thing people do, And then, the other thing he said he didn't know about was deer fridges in people's garages. Mike Elko put it point blankly to me. He said, I don't hunt. I don't wear boots. I don't drink whiskey. I don't own a ranch. So he's not organically Texan. But I think once you get into it, and what he talked about was he knows how to build a program that the university and the fan base and a donor class resonates with. So while he's not a Texan by nature, there's a lot of qualities about him that I think, as resonate at Texas A&M, but also and more importantly, his team resonates. His team's blue collar. His team's tough. His team's gritty. His team's no nonsense. And actually, so is he. So it doesn't really matter where he's from. His personality, his brand, and more importantly, his team that he's had the last couple of years, I think it resonates there, as you know well.
Yeah, and I don't think you have to be from an area to be about that area. And the two things that you said there that spoke the loudest to me was Elko's authentic. What players that come in this studio all the time say that exact thing. You know where you stand with him. There's no fluff. He's authentic. And he's also blue collar. He's going to do the work. He's going to get to work early. He's going to leave late, but he's going to go to his kid's game when he can. He is very much like, I think, A&M. And there's other programs in this state that they have their own identity. And I think this identity fits. The Elko identity fits what A&M. And he's about defense. And A&M's best days have been about defense.
Yeah, totally. And I think there's a difference between pretending like you're from somewhere and embracing the traditions. I mean, Mike Elko, I think, has fully embraced the traditions of the state of Texas, of Texas A&M. He gets where he's at. He fully understands where he's at. He just doesn't pretend that that was his upbringing, right? And I think that's key. Smart people they don't like being lied to, right? Like they don't like an act. And most of us, like, once you spend any length of time around somebody, you can tell, right? You can tell when somebody's putting on and trying to be something they're not, and what's legit. And what's legit about Elko is, like you said, he's about defense, he's about toughness, he's about all those things that Texas A&M wants. And let's also address the elephant in the room here. Texas A&M wants a winner, right? It's not just that they want blue collar, they want toughness. And Texas A&M isn't alone there. That's all across Power 4 college football. You want someone who wins. And Mike Elko, took Texas A&M on an elevator ride up last season, and eventually it stopped. And so now the question is, how high does it go? But I think in 2 seasons, undeniably, there's progress there. Particularly, when you look at how last season went up until the final 2 games, and those final 2 games can't be ignored. But you also can't ignore what happened in the 11 games leading up to that.
You're exactly right. Let's talk about the success for this program, because it does feel different. I know you spoke to Billy Lucci, our executive editor and co-owner at TexAgs. It feels different, but here's a similar story. Sumlin, Jimbo, coaches before have started off well, and then they've trailed off. But this one feels sustainable. I probably would have said that about Jimbo after the 2020 season also, right? It felt sustainable. I think college football changed, and that kind of helped escalate the change for Jimbo. There were some other things going on as well. But why do you think it feels different this particular time? Because they haven't won a national championship, as you write about, in forever, and the players know that. They haven't won a conference championship since 1998 in the Big 12. Why does this feel different?
I wish I could point to something tangible, because then you like hard evidence, right? And there are a lot of factors. I mean, you see it in the recruiting rankings. We've talked about how, Mike Elko seems like a real football coach, knows how to develop. You look at the NFL draft. So there is evidence, but I wish there was like some object you could point to and be like, there it is, Judge. There's the proof. This is how we know it's real this time. But I do have to say, like, some of it just is a feeling. Some of it just is a vibe. And either you believe it or you don't. I do feel like it's believable. And maybe that's just the success last season. Maybe that's, I think it's all of it, right? You see how they're recruiting. The war chest that Texas A&M has. In a resources world, Texas A&M's got resources. Resources matter as much as they ever have. And Texas A&M's resources aren't drying up. So there's so many factors. And you look at what they did in the draft this year. I don't know that there's like one single smoking gun you can point to and say, well, this time the hype's real, the program's here to stay, there's not going to be a drop off. I think it's all of it. And I also just think it's a feeling. You look at what Elko did in 2 seasons at Duke. You look at the fact that Jimbo's best years, and that's not to take all the credit away from Jimbo. I think, early in his tenure, he did deserve some credit. But Jimbo's best years were when Elko was on staff. Mm-hmm. And so you add it all up, I think there's a lot of factors at play. Again, maybe just not one smoking gun that you can point to.
Like, I think Elko's got a little bit of grace regardless of what happens this year. I still think the program's going to go in the right direction. I feel like they can be really good. I look at that daunting schedule. I'm like, ooh, but that's what we said last year entering the season, and the schedule turned out to be a little bit easier than what we had anticipated in July at SEC Media Days. But just for the Elko's got A&M going in the right direction, how important is this year 3 in that narrative? I mean, can he take a step back from a records perspective, or no, we've been down this path before with A&M. They've got to continue being in that same playoff conversation.
I think a lot of it depends on how it looks. I think he could, take, obviously nobody in your audience wants that, right? But I think it's plausible he could take a small record step back and not lose all momentum. It depends how it looks, right? If he and who's he beating? Does he get a win against Texas this year? They go 9-3, but they beat Texas. I don't think they're going to hang the banner, but that's something you can point to that didn't happen in the 2 previous seasons. Does he go on the road and beat Lane Kiffin at LSU? Again, they're not going to hang a banner for that, but it depends how it comes about. If they go 9-3, I think you need a signature win in there to still be able to point to, hey, we were right on the playoffs doorstep. But also don't forget we beat Texas or we beat LSU or something to that effect, right? So It's how it looks. Are you competitive in the games that you do lose? I mean, that was the thing last season. It did fizzle some at the end, but it wasn't like a collapse, right? They were there in those 2 games. Now, you don't get a lot of credit for that, but they weren't getting skunked. They were at the table. They had their shots against Texas and Miami and couldn't capitalize. So, long answer to a short question, but the long and short of it is, I don't think he necessarily has to go 11 plus wins again this year to sell forward momentum. I think there are other ways you can do that. It's still got to look good, though.
Blake, one of the things that happened at the end of the last season is I think a combination of things affected Marcel Reed. Le'Veon Moss not playing towards the end affected Marcel Reed. The offensive line going against some really tough defenses of the last couple games. Really, the last 3 SEC/playoff games were all tough. South Carolina. So I think that all played a role. But for this team to take the next step, Marcel Reed's got to be better. I know that Marcel, you spoke to both Marcel and Coach Elko about that. They're not shying away from it.
Not at all. And boy, Marcel Reed, I think I may have wrote this, like, he's big on ability. He's bigger on swagger. Like, he believes in himself. And I would want that out of my quarterback, right? I get, not everybody may love hearing this, but I get a little Diego Pavia out of Marcel Reed. I really do. Like, he believes deeply in himself. There wasn't a more confident quarterback in America last year than Diego Pavia. And that's where I make the comparison. Maybe some of the other stuff with Diego, not necessarily quite all the way there, but the confidence factor, I see that in Marcel Reed. That man, he believes in himself. Now, he'll also admit last year wasn't perfect. You know, he pointed out to me the turnovers have to change. We all know that. 12 interceptions last year, in an interception on his final pass of the season where he made the right read, didn't put the ball in the right spot. What I found interesting in my conversation with him, I said, how many times have you rewatched that final pass? He said a few. He said he rewatched it for the first time later that day. Watched the film of that game later that day. So this is, like I said, a lot of confidence, a lot of ability, still has to put it all together, I think, and be that complete quarterback. I think he knows it, but you're exactly right to say, like, he is the kind of the straw that stirs the drink for this team, particularly on the offense. And, a lot of factors at play, but I think to a certain extent, A&M will go as far as Marcel Reed takes him.
I want to ask a couple other questions before we let you go. If you listen to the show from the very beginning, our intro's got a Coach Elko bite saying we're a real program, we're not fake. I know you wrote a little bit about that. Some people took that as a shot to others. You had Coach Elko clarify, no, he's talking about building this program. What were your takeaways from the way he kind of set that up?
It's interesting because I was in College Station the night he made that comment. I was in the press conference, was in the room. I certainly took it as a shot at someone that night. I think many in the room did. Many people outside the room did. Now, he's consistently said that it wasn't a shot at any particular individual. I guess if you take him at his word, then it wasn't, right? And maybe it wasn't. I think the larger point, whether it was or wasn't a reference about any particular individual, I think his larger point was that his brand and this program's brand under him, his goal is that it's not going to be fluff. It's not going to be fake. It's not going to be politician, salesman-y, all that type of stuff. It's going to be real. It's going to be tangible. And I think he felt like that night in that win against LSU in that first season, 2024 season, that was some early proof that there was something real, something tangible happening. Now, we know what happened the rest of that season, and last year they kept the momentum longer. So, yeah, it was interesting to hear him talk about that because I know he'd clarified it before, but I wanted to hear from him again and kind of press him a little bit on, are you sure you weren't talking about anybody? Because I mentioned to him, I said, when you say fast talking, anybody that knows Jimbo Fisher knows he's a fast talker. And Elko did say fast talking in that quote. And I said, when you say politician, you know as well as anybody, everybody's mind's going to immediately go to Brian Kelly. who worked for a politician, who had a reputation for being very politician-y as a coach. And Elko emphasized in his interview to me, again, people can believe what they want. He said, I hear you on all that. I get it. I get why people interpret it the way that they did. But he said, I swear to you, that's not what I meant. I wasn't coming after any particular individual. So again, take what you will from that. But I think the larger point, whether he was or wasn't, throwing an elbow at anybody, the larger point was what he's talking about in his own program. And I think you can see some signs of that.
Coach Elko, the guy I know, strikes me as a person, if he meant it in a certain way, he would tell you he meant it in that way.
I do agree with that. I agree with that.
He does not shy away. Hey, last thing for you. Lane Kiffin. I think it came up earlier in the show. I had to leave, but you wrote a great article about him. Ole Miss fans hate him in a different level than Tennessee did. And I'm just curious, Schloss left A&M baseball. I don't know how familiar you are with that story. He came here this year. It was a ruckus crowd at Bluebell. Is that the blueprint for Ole Miss? What is Lane Kiffin going to walk into this year?
The blueprint for Ole Miss is the 2021 scene at Neyland Stadium when Tennessee fans trashed their own stadium, trashed their own field, and in the process hit Lane Kiffin with a golf ball during that melee. Now, I'm not advocating for any of that, but if you want a blueprint for what blowback looks like, that's the blueprint. Tennessee provided it. And I have to say, I lived in Knoxville, Tennessee for 6+ seasons. I do not live there now, but I spent many years there. So when Lane said that he feels like the hate and vitriol that he's experiencing from Ole Miss right now trumps what he got from Tennessee, as someone who lived there 6 years longer than what Lane lived there, I was like, whoa, you think it trumps the way Tennessee felt about you? And for some Tennessee fans still feel about you. And those same Tennessee fans who were raining down mustard bottles and golf balls and beer cans and water bottles at you 5 years ago, well, Lane thinks what he's experiencing from Ole Miss right now trumps all of that. And maybe it does. I've talked to some people who lived in Knoxville even longer than what I did. And they said, yeah, I think maybe this does trump that. But Lane, of course, can't make any comment without getting a little dig in. So at the back end of his quote to me, in which he said that the hatred from Ole Miss right now he feels like is at a different level than Tennessee, he also pointed out that Ole Miss's stadium doesn't seat 100,000. So he said, even if they may hate him more, he said there's definitely not as many fans as a lot of stadiums. So it's not like there will be 100,000 in Tennessee hating you, at least not inside the stadium. Anyway.
Blake, this was great, man. Thanks so much for your time. Let's do it again around SEC Media Days.
Okay, sounds good. Good talking to you.
Thank you. Blake Toppmeyer from USA Today did a great article on Mike Elko and the Aggies. Go check it out at USA Today. We have it on the boards as well. All right, we'll hit a break. We'll come back. The Fan Show joining us. We'll talk to Browning. We'll talk to Roy here on the other side. Right now, Ground Shuttle, they offer frequent and reliable shuttles from Bryan-College Station to George Bush Intercontinental Airport. So you can commute in luxury with luxury shuttles, reclining seats, power outlets, you name it. You don't have to worry about the traffic. You don't have to worry about the parking situation. Let Ground Shuttle do the driving for you. They'll get you there, and you're going to love it. They have 9 shuttle times on the weekdays every hour and a half and 5 shuttle times on the weekends every 2.5 hours. It is the way to go. And if you need a charter service, they'll take care of you there as well. Anywhere in Texas, door to door, hassle-free to get your group to sporting events, concerts, and corporate meetings. Check out the website, groundshuttle.com. That is groundshuttle.com, or call them up, 855-303-4415. Ground Shuttle. Let them do the driving.
Ladies and gentlemen, a couple minutes late, but that's okay. It's time for the world famous
Fan Show.
Got Roy May. Hey.
What's going on, man? Congratulations on your son getting an award.
Thank you very much.
What was the award?
College Board something. It's for people like, and Cruz is going to be really upset because he didn't get the award. Christian did. A bunch of kids got it. If you have to be top 10% in like multiple areas, test scores, and grades, and like 3 other areas, and Christian got recognized for it.
So it's like the whole person award, kind of whole person achievement kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's like how the service academies go through their applications. Is it's like if you have a 4.0 but you never did anything else, like you don't get an award for that.
Yeah.
Because it just shows all you can do is study. But if you were involved in extracurriculars, you played sports, and like you were captain, you had leadership positions, and you had good grades. It's like the whole person kind of.
Yes. And by the way, Cruz had great grades too. All that stuff. I think he told me that the test score that he had, which was barely lower, the SATs was barely lower than Christian's. Just missed. So
Nuño's kids are impressive.
They're pretty good. I'm blessed. But there was this one lady, I think she got 13 scholarships. It was like, like you walk across the stage, hey, you get a college board, you get this, yay, everybody claps.
And you see them like looping back around to get them.
She like walked and she stopped and it was like, and this, and that, and this, and that. And I'm like looking at my, like, I'm just trying to get one scholarship, right? Like, I'm like, it's been 12 minutes of awards for this lady.
Yeah.
Like,
I went to A&M Consolidated Middle School Awards last week to give out a Legion Award.
Yeah.
There was one kid like that. Like they'd give her an award and then she'd get back in line. She'd get another award, back in line.
You're like, hey, can we hurry this up? I got to get back to work. Nick is.
I was texting him during the segment.
Nick is screwing the whole thing up,
No, we're not going to talk about that. No, I was giving them updates. They don't think I know, but I know that they have like jokes about me. Like, how many times is Nuño going to bring up his broken finger? How Nuño, no chance he'll be back by Aaron Torres.
Well, they've got like odds and stuff on the board.
That's fine. That's fine. They wish they could beat me at 50. But I was texting Nick updates throughout the thing. And we're about to lose every viewer if we don't get to the big news of the day.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to even do that. I'm going to allow Carson Stein to mess it up because we've already had enough mess ups. Go ahead.
Gentlemen, what is on your mind?
You see how, hold on, I don't know if the camera could have seen it. He was like, like when you're about to ask a good question, you're like,
rolling up.
He was doing that.
Rolling the dough a little bit.
Yes.
What's on your mind? Who's answering the question?
Roy. I get it all the time.
You forgot everybody's name, didn't you?
I get to go first all the time.
He said gentlemen, so we could just both talk at the same time and bring back like the old COVID fan show.
The old.
Can I make a comment?
Yeah.
I love the way it says Aggies on your shoulder. It looks like a G.I. Joe logo.
This is a little retro. Yeah,
I like it.
Got the star. Yeah.
Yeah, but it looks like G.I. Joe. It's very good. I like it. Sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Brownie.
Oh, you want me to go?
Yeah, go ahead. You never get to go first.
Well, I mean, I just said you could go first, but I wanted you to go first because David said there's big news today, and I'm apparently unaware of it. So,
well, the news happened yesterday, but today we're reacting to it.
What was the news?
Would you like to tell them about the pitching rotation?
About Aiden Sims?
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty big news.
No, that's big news.
One of the best pitchers in the conference.
I think he was just under the impression
like
that
new
it was new
Like
news.
I thought something happened. So
UFOs?
Huh?
No.
Yeah, no UFOs. So no, it's obviously on my mind. It's still baseball. And we're in baseball season. We're in full swing. Did
you just laugh at your own joke in a way?
He was the only one.
So, but no, I mean, baseball is such a weird game, and it's the quirkiest sport just because you can go on a day and essentially rule a team, and then play them 45 minutes later and lose to the same team. Right? It's such an odd sport that way. So I mean to go there and I mean you played tough. You played them tough in the first and third game. I mean the bats got unbelievably hot in game 2, which was really fun to watch. But but then you turn around and I mean just sometimes the pitching is just it's with that offense. I mean if you can, I don't know. The offense should always scores enough runs where you should.
Unfortunately, there's a lot of injuries that
But I mean that's the thing about baseball. It's just so quirky. But it does lead us into this weekend being it's important.
Mega important.
Busy weekend in that.
When you talk to Brauny and Zane, did they say is it a must? We have to win two.
To be a national seed, I think you would need a lot of help in Hoover. You would need other programs to lose. Was it Florida State? There's a couple others that need to lose.
If you don't win two, right?
If you don't. And you would kind of backdoor your way in, but you'd probably have to do well at Hoover. But I don't think you're going to have Aiden Sims next week in Hoover anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you've got to take, and I know you still don't have Aiden Sims this weekend, but you've got to take, I mean, let him rest in Hoover, right? If he's tight, like if he's resting this week, then let him rest the tournament. Yeah, I think it's not a must win, but like David said, I mean, you're going to need some help around you. If you lose a series to Mississippi State, now they have the head-to-head. If they go on and win a game or two, all of a sudden, Mississippi State is a problem, right? So if you can just go out, biggest thing is just win tonight. Win the first one, so you have 2 games to win one, right? Just fire all the rounds you have tonight, and just somehow find a way to beat Mississippi State tonight. And so it'll set you up. Weather's going to be beautiful. It's going to be perfect for baseball. I was going to sit here and break down a little of softball because that's what I do.
Well, it's what's on your mind now. What's on Matt's mind?
Yeah. So real quick before he jumps to that, though, do you think in baseball as much as football that there's recency bias? So you lose the series, you lose the couple series at the end of the season.
Yes.
I mean, whether or not, I agree with that. I think that's true. I mean,
if you lose 3 straight series to end the year and your best pitcher is hurt and you've got other players that are hurt, yeah, absolutely, it's going to hurt you.
Yeah, and I don't even know that it's necessarily recency bias. You lose 3 series in a row and you bow out of Hoover early. That's not recency bias. That's a trend.
Well, and also you're competing with other resumes that are really good. Mississippi State,
a lot
Alabama.
of resumes
there's a lot of
So they're all kind of right in that clump.
Yeah.
Right. Obviously hosting is locked up. I mean, unless we go 0-3 and bounce out of Hoover.
We got to hit a break. So why don't you tell me what's on your mind?
So softball regional, man. This is a tough regional. You got Arizona State, obviously won the Big 12. You've got McNeese State. They won the Southland Conference. They won the Southland Tournament, excuse me. And then UConn won the Big East. So you have 3 championship level teams coming in. Arizona State, obviously, they're a power conference. They've got, all the athletes around. McNeese State is the kind of club that is going to drag you down to the mud. They're going to be 1-run games. They're going to kind of suck, to be honest. And then UConn just mashes. I don't want to get the names wrong. Her name is Kat Petties, if I got that right. She's batting 397.
Pate? What a name, Kat Petty.
Kat Petties.
Yeah, that's a good name.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I guess that works, huh? Yeah, she's got 397 average, 19 homers, and 58 ribbies on the year. Like, she can rake, right? UConn's the team that wants to bomb away on you. So I look at this, and if we can get to where we're playing Arizona State for, this already has kind of a super regional feel to it, right? And we had that playing Texas in the regular season. It just has that feel to it. So this team is battle tested. It's just going to come down to can the pitching do it to where we don't burn through pitching too early? That's been the question all year is pitching, because like baseball, offensively, I love where they're at. They can manufacture runs in every way you can imagine. And obviously getting to play at home, 12th man's, if you haven't been out to Davis Diamond yet, it's easily one of the best venues in the country, if not maybe the best for softball. So, and the 12th man makes a huge impact.
All right, we'll hit a break. We'll come back with more. It is the Fan Show on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. Nick, I don't believe we've done Double Daves, correct? So right now, caller number 12, 979-693-1150. We're going to hook you up with your choice of a dozen pepperoni rolls or a large one-topping pizza. They've been serving Aggieland since 1984 with your favorite pizza and, of course, those world-famous pepperoni rolls. Reliable in-house delivery, bringing piping hot goodness straight to your door. Just click on doubledaves.com, and your favorites are on their way. Hey everyone, David Nuño here of TexAgs Live. I want to introduce you to the team at Holistic Planning. Got Jason Barber here, Taylor Pankratz, and also Paul Meredith. Jason, I want to start off with you. What really sets Holistic Planning apart from the others?
Yeah, so what makes us different is most financial advisors stop at investment management. On the other hand, Holistic Planning, we manage investments, taxes, and estate planning all on one team, all underneath one roof.
Now, Taylor, when everything is coordinated like that, it really helps the bottom line, doesn't it?
It really does. When your investments and taxes are working together, you stop leaving money on the table and keep more of what's yours.
Paul, Holistic Planning is trying to expand as well.
That's true. We just opened our Houston office, and we're looking for people who feel like their advisor isn't seeing the full picture, because that's exactly what we fix.
And Jason, there's other opportunities beyond that.
Definitely. If you're a financial advisor and you want to join the Holistic Planning team, we're looking to add 50 teams in the next 5 to 10 years. So check out holisticplanning.com/advisors.
All right, so if you want a team that actually coordinates everything, go to holisticplanning.com. Aggies, this one is worth it. Hey guys, David Nuño here to talk about our new partners with EventPipe. They are a leader in hotel booking technology, and now they're giving you a chance to support Aggie student athletes every time that you travel.
Thanks to their partnership with United and EventPipe, whether you're heading into a game, a business trip, or family vacation, every room that you book comes with cash back in the pockets of Aggie athletes. That's a wonderful deal. And with EventPipe, you'll get discounted hotel rates up to 20% lower than the major travel sites while enjoying a fast, easy booking process. They've even created Presto, EventPipe's quick launch booking solution. It lets organizations build branded hotel sites powered by live hotel inventory, making it simple to book the perfect stay. So next time you want to book a trip, do it the smart way with EventPipe and support Texas Aggies NIL through United. Visit their website, tau.eventpipe.com. Welcome back. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. I don't know if you guys were able to listen to any of my interview with Blake Toppmeyer, who wrote about Coach Elko.
They didn't have the audio going
we
out there.
couldn't.
But he wrote about Coach Elko fitting A&M, but not for the reasons like some people would think. He's not a Texan. Not only is he not a Texan, as in he's not born, he's from Jersey, right? Mm-hmm. But he doesn't do the hunting. He doesn't do the other stuff, right? He doesn't have a gun safe, right? He's just. But why he fits is because he's authentic, and also it's blue collar. Let's go about the business.
So he doesn't call you from his cattle ranch on the phone. And
No, I think it would be cool
like
if he
that?
did, but no. Like,
You remember who used to do that, don't you?
Jimbo?
Slosh.
Oh, from the cattle ranch?
Yeah. He used to call you like he was out like
oh
working
yeah,
his
he'd be
cows.
like, yeah, I'm mowing the lawn. Yeah.
Yeah, he's just
It's really hilarious you bring that up because like the blue collar mentality and the no nonsense, like there's no fluff kind of thing. Those are very Texan traits. They are. But you brought that up, and I was thinking about it. Driving around the truck, Ford is the official truck of Aggie Athletics, and him doing like the F-150 commercial, it almost sounds forced.
Yeah, but I think you can like.
Well, no, because we heard good old Jimbo doing it for years about Ford's the toughest truck in Texas, and blah blah blah. And Mike Elko's like, if you want a tough truck,
but Elko is tough. Which is why it fits, right?
Like, it's just like the lack of accent cracks me up.
For instance, I think 15 years ago, I wasn't listening to country music and I wouldn't have driven a truck. I would absolutely, I think you can evolve in your community, right? Oh, and he's been in Texas now. A big part of his
coaching career.
But
His
still
first
be
stint at
authentic to
A&M.
your true self.
Exactly right.
Well, I think he genuinely too. And this comes across with him, right? He genuinely appreciates not only the what Texas A&M as a sports, what we represent as a sports fan base and everything else, but like what A&M stands for, the integrity, the
leadership, loyalty, respect, and selfless service.
All that stuff that we kind of that we'll make jokes about for the most part.
That's a commercial, by the way.
It's real, right? I mean, that's and I think he genuinely appreciates all the fact that we're that way.
All in support of that Aggie network. Roy, another thing that Blake brought up, and actually for both of you, but I'll start off with Roy, that I almost wanted to argue with my guy. He was like, Marcel Reed kind of reminds me of Diego Pavia. I'm like, hold up, wait a minute.
Yuck.
And then he went on to explain the why. Belief in himself. And I'll give Marcel Reed that. Like he said not the off the field stuff, not some of the other, and by the way, Diego's not, I didn't like how he handled the Heisman, but like, I think as his legend grew, he became a little more of a caricature of who he was when he first started at Vanderbilt, in my opinion. That being said, Marcel, I think, has a swagger to him for sure, does believe in himself, but I think also keeps himself very grounded.
Yeah, well, first of all, if you're a D1 quarterback, you better believe in yourself. Like that's, I mean, I know all the positions have to, but, the quarterback's the face of the program generally, just always is.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess you could make that parallel, and it's hard to make it right now just because we saw all the off the field stuff, right? And we saw Diego Pavia just kind of make an ass of himself, quite frankly. And I think what we see out of Marcel Reed is, post game stuff. He's very appreciative. He always has time for fans. He does stuff out in the community. He just comes across as a little bit more self aware.
Yeah.
But I believe the swagger is absolutely there. Like he knows he's good, and you have to. You have to in that position. You have to believe in yourself that you're going to do what you need to do, at the proper time.
Yeah, I mean, Diego is he was fun to watch. I mean, but personality-wise and his level of swagger and confidence is far more like Johnny than it is Marcel.
Yeah, but I also think from the Heisman moment on, he kind of changed.
Yeah.
Maybe before he changed, but that was not the Diego Pavia that I liked the year prior.
And he didn't help himself either.
Yeah, no. He didn't. But where Marcel is he is supremely
classy,
confident.
man.
I love
that run.
He's confident in himself. He's confident in his beliefs. He's team first. I do believe he comes across as team first. And it's he wants to win. He wants to win. And I'll say this too. I like the fact that when he has a bad game, he'll call himself out.
Yeah.
He's like, here, this is what I did wrong. Right? As opposed to, a lot of guys want to pass the buck. Hey, this isn't my fault. Guys didn't catch the ball or the line didn't block or whatever. I mean, Marcel will tell you when he's had a bad game. And so
I love that play.
Right. Yeah, that was that Notre Dame.
For radio, we're looking at the touchdown pass to Nate Borgacher in Notre Dame.
Yeah, and so I mean, he just seems like a great kid.
Yep.
I really enjoyed watching him. He's exciting. But he is, and we want him to be. You want him to be confident. You don't want him. That's the last thing is them to be, lack any confidence.
I love telling the story about Marcel. Not that it means anything, but to me it means a lot. We're at SEC Media Days, and he is there for some student program. I forget what he was there for. He went out of his way to come say hi to the TexAgs staff. I wasn't with the TexAgs staff, okay? He went and said hello to them. Later, I'm walking back into the room. He's walking by in a big line, and he goes out of his way to come find me to say hello. That doesn't say like that he can throw touchdowns. It just when you're the quarterback in the face of a team, you don't have to stop and say hi to people. You don't like. It was just, hey man, how are you? How's your summer been? It was very like, and all his teammates talk about his leadership qualities, how funny he is, but also how business he is. Like he's got a lot of things that we need to appreciate. And I know that many folks, especially nationally, point at the last two games. The last two games have to be better, but it wasn't all on him.
No, it wasn't all on him. And I mean, I'll say this too. I get we're in a day and age where these guys are getting paid and people are like, I want nothing but results. I don't care what they are. I don't care. I've heard people say this. I don't care what kind of guy he is. I just want results. I want to win, right? And, I still care.
Yep.
I still care if the guys that are wearing that uniform represent, act in a way that they should. Right?
I agree. Especially if you wear A&M on your chest, I think we hope that most of our guys act a certain way.
Yeah, I mean, I still look. I want to win too, but I mean, is it worth having a bunch of knuckleheads? I don't know.
Sometimes,
yeah. I mean, it's okay to have.
I mean, we've had some knuckleheads here yeah.
I mean, but
like Johnny's a bit of a knucklehead. I take that all day. Favorite Aggie quarterback other than Bucky Richardson, ever or player, right? Like,
well, I think the TexAgs story, and you probably downplayed it a little bit, to be quite frank, because to me that's a testament of high character. That's and being self-aware and being aware of your surroundings as well. It's just there's a whole lot of stuff that goes into like just kind of those small little interactions. It's the little things like that. People of high character.
When nobody's watching, doing that,
Yeah, you're doing the right thing when nobody's watching, kind of thing, right? You're not in front of the cameras, nothing. It's just it's a genuine desire to be a good human and do the right thing, and kind of I don't know about uplift each other necessarily, but yeah, I mean it's just high character.
Yeah, I mean it's and like I know the haters are gonna love this because there's
hate.
Cowboys have more haters than anybody, but I mean Dak Prescott seems like a good dude. Right? I mean, he genuinely does. I like Dak Prescott.
I do too.
I mean, he throws way too many interceptions, and as a Cowboys fan, he can be difficult to watch sometimes. And other times, he's amazing.
Interceptions are not a character flaw.
But no, it's not a character flaw. I mean, he does seem like he's a good dude. And it makes you want to root for him, right? Even when they don't play well. But like if you're a knucklehead and you're playing bad, then boy, they'll really turn on you.
Let's hit a break here. We'll come back with a short final segment on the Fan Show on TexAgs Live. All right, we're talking about Burlebo, the heart of Texas, more than an outdoor lifestyle brand. It's products created with you in mind. Currently, I'm wearing the performance polo, the Texas Maroon and Gray. If you look into it, you've got the state of Texas in gray, and you also got it in maroon. It's one of their highest, most popular sales that they have there. It is really nice. Comfort and versatility. You can wear it in any situation. Quick drying, fits the size. But Burlebo, they're rooted in tradition, fueled by passion for the outdoors. Designs high-quality apparel that works just as hard as you do. So whether you're hitting a workout, enjoying a day of fishing, or cheering on your favorite college team, their gear is made for the athlete, the outdoorsman, and the everyday adventure. And it's really nice. I wore this one to church the other day. People talked about it. Really, my kids were like, Dad, you look pretty good today. From athletic shorts to your favorite go-to tees and performance hoodies, they have everything you want. Check out Burlebo.com and find your new favorite gear. It's Burlebo for the athlete, for the outdoors, and for the family. I wish I had Olin here for it because he loves energy drinks. Catalyst Citrus Spark. This is one of the new flavors out there. Whether you're grinding through workouts, cramming for a test, or closing in on a deal, or getting ready for TexAgs Live, you never know, right? Fast becoming the go-to fuel for Aggies everywhere. Zero sugar, I'm all in for that. Or synthetic sweeteners, no artificial colors or flavors. Catalyst delivers clean, high-performance energy with smooth, crisp taste that is never syrupy, designed for both health and hustle. You want to get going? You use this Catalyst right here. It's about pure energy and pure results. And what sets them apart? Packed with premium nootropics blended to boost focus, clarity, and mental stamina. I need this. I'm in, guys. I'm in. Plus, with plant-based caffeine, vitamin B12, B6, Catalyst supports metabolism and energy production, making it more than a drink. It's your lifestyle training partner. Built for competitors on the field, Catalyst fuels strength, focus, and pure results. Buy now at drinkcatalyst.com. That is drinkcatalyst.com. Train harder, think sharper, pure results. It's Catalyst.
And we're back. It is TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Would you like a Damian Sanford update?
Please.
Okay. Well, if you listened to Billy Lucci 2 weeks ago, it's the same update. But here's the update from Coach Elko.
Is this like not news?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, from Coach's Night last night.
He spoke last night at the Dallas Coaches Night and basically said he's confident that he'll be able to help them this fall.
Yeah. I talked to a player on the team. I won't say who. But I did talk to an actual player on the team. He said he'll be all right. He'll be back. He'll be back before game 1. Is what the player told me.
Breaking news.
You've been hanging out at Northgate?
That's how you TexAgs, right there. This is how you TexAgs.
No, how you TexAgs is you get somebody who knows somebody and post that.
Yeah.
Yeah, my friend's mom is a cleaning lady at the apartments that they live in, and she saw homeboy walking with no brace on. And then you post that.
I don't post. I'm a lurker.
You're a ghost.
You got to know the pool guy.
Pool guy.
So, what does that do? Because knowing that he's going to be able to help this year per Coach Elko, what does that do for your confidence defensively? Because that was the big question afterwards. Like, oh, I don't know, man. Defense, like all brand new linebackers, captain gone.
I think it's
people jump to conclusions right away.
I think it's still TBD because he can help us next year is the most vague comment on the face of the planet. Like he's going to be in for the last game of the year. Like, he's going to be an analyst. So it's good. It's still, for me, it's just TBD as we get a little bit further down the road with his recovery. And, we'll know more once they convene in the summer for fall ball.
Yeah, and to be, I know this is going to sound crazy, but it's funny. It's something, I guess it's the confidence with Elko that I feel like we're going to be okay.
Yep.
I mean, you always want your stars to play. You want your best players to play. You want everybody available and you want everybody healthy. But, at least on the defensive side of the ball, because of his pedigree, because of what he's shown in all of his years as a defensive coordinator and as a head coach, that we've got in defense. I don't feel like you obviously want him there. I think like he would help. He's obviously probably our best right now, our best linebacker. You definitely want him there, but I didn't worry as much.
I'm always fascinated when they give you the classification height weight, how everybody is either a 0 or a 5. They're either 310 or they're 315. They're 200 or they're 205.
By the way, we've got about 20 seconds left. I didn't get to it earlier in the show. Devon Achane agrees to a 4-year extension, $68 million, making him the NFL's third highest running back at $17 million per year with $32 million guaranteed.
Worth every penny.
Yeah, that's my guy. And unfortunately, Le'Veon Moss having to retire. Hopefully he can get healthy and maybe give it another crack here in a couple of years.
Yeah.
Yep.
Gentlemen, great job. Thank you very much.
Yes,
Thank you, David.
Thank you.
That's going to do it for TexAgs Live here on a Thursday. Tomorrow on the show, the Baseball Bunch. We'll have a baseball game to discuss. We'll have Billy Lucci. We'll have Richard Zane in the Go Hour because OB is celebrating with Quinn. Thanks so much for watching and listening. We'll see you mañana.